afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar series. This is the webinar series organized by IMPACTIVE, which, as you probably know, it's a Horizon Europe funded project dedicated to green chemistry and sustainable pharmaceuticals. In particular, we're looking into mechanochemistry as a way of manufacturing chemicals in a more sustainable, less impactful way. I think this is our fifth webinar already. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for following the series. We're very happy to have you here. As a novelty, today we're streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn at the same time. Hopefully nothing breaks and we enjoy the presentation in both platforms. It's a real experiment to see if we reach wider audiences. So we're very much looking forward to that. And today we're very happy to welcome one of our collaborators, Renzo Luisi, who is the coordinator of assisted project SusPharma. So Renzo is a full professor of organic chemistry at the University of Bari, Aldo Moro in Italy, and he works in research and chemistry focused on organic synthesis, asymmetric catalysis, sustainable methodologies, especially working in organolithium chemistry and flow chemistry, obviously with a focus on green chemistry processes, which is what made him put together a proposal called SusPharma, which is a research project also funded by Horizon Europe, developing more sustainable and environmentally friendly pharmaceutical manufacturing. The project is looking into how to reduce waste, how to do better and more efficient energy consumption, and how to reduce hazardous reagents from the process of making chemicals, combining both academia and industry in a very, very cool consortium that we'll hear more about in a few seconds. So SusPharma and IMPACTIVE work together in a cluster of sister projects focused on green pharmaceutical synthesis in Europe. Again, we're all very happily funded by the European Commission through the Horizon Europe program. And without further ado, I just want to give Renzo the floor. I'm really looking forward to your presentation, Renzo. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Fernando, for this kind introduction and for giving me the opportunity to talk about SusPharma, that you said is a sister project of IMPACTIVE. So I want just to start my presentation. I hope you can see the screen.
Yeah, well, the screen is ready, so happy to hear that.
Okay. Well, what is SusPharma? SusPharma is a European funded project. The European Union just gave us something like €6 million. And we are 10 different partners. There's one associate partner in UK, University of Loughborough, Professor Bari Benhaya. And then there are 5 more European countries and 9 other partners. We have 3, let's say, industrial partner, but one is in Italian, is Domper Pharmaceuticals. Another one is in the Netherlands, Friacon, in Netherlands also C2CAT. And then we have also the Flemish Institute, Vito, in Belgium, that is also a partner. And the rest of the partners, they are academics. In the Netherlands, University of Amsterdam, we have Professor Timothy Noel. In Italy, we have at the Polytechnic of Milano, Professor Gianvito Ville. University of Aveiro, Professor João Mano. University of Cordoba, Professor Baru. And all together, we have different expertise, different skills, but we work all together in order to introduce sustainability in the pharmaceutical manufacturing. So the project includes several interdisciplinary scientific work packages. And I will show you in a moment just the aim of the scientific work packages, and then 2 work packages dedicated to dissemination, exploitation, and management. So we want to introduce different concepts. We want to merge them in order to give some, create, let's say, a platform for pharmaceutical manufacturing, from the discovery of new medicine to the formulation of new medicine. So the key concept are digital to pharma. That means that we want to introduce digitalization in all the steps of pharmaceutical production. And since the early discovery, I would say during the design of a synthetic process, for example, up to the formulation or the crystallization, for example. We want to introduce the digitalization in each step. Then the cut to pharma, this want to include catalysis, in particular heterogeneous catalysis, and the concept of a single atom catalyst for the production of pharmaceuticals or chemicals that are useful precursor for the preparation of pharmaceuticals. And also we want to use another technology, the flow technology, for making the synthetic process and the preparation of pharmaceutical more sustainable. Other two concepts are the waste to pharma and pour to pharma. That means that you want to reuse the waste in order to get some fine chemicals or important starting material for the production of a pharmaceutical. And pure to pharma means that we want to introduce automation for the purification of pharmaceuticals. And then related to the last steps, that is the formulation, we introduce the concept of a capsule to pharma. We want to demonstrate that it's possible to formulate pharmaceutical in a more sustainable way. For example, using a water-based capsule for the encapsulation and controlled release of pharmaceuticals. So we try to merge the concept, and this is what the consortium is the main aim of the consortium. And also we want to merge discipline and expertise within the consortium because we are not only chemists, but we are also engineer, biochemist, expert in automation, in green synthesis, in data science, and so on. Another important point of SusPharma is just that we want also to train people. We want to train the next generation of scientists that will be able to introduce sustainability into the pharmaceutical manufacturing. This is an important key point because usually there is some, let's say, need a mindset changing, because it's quite difficult sometimes for company to shift from traditional production to a more modern, let's say, automated or based on new technology production. And this could be done only if into the company, new people with the new expertise get in. This is very important. So we want to we want to catalyze, let's say, the transition from the traditional way of making pharmaceutical to a modern way to make a pharmaceutical, and in particular, more sustainable and less impactful for the environment. So what we do, we comply with the green chemistry principle in sense of prevention, atom economy, design of safer chemicals or safer route for making chemicals, reuse the resources, the use of catalysis, and also in sometimes design for degradation. And we also comply with the Sustainable Development Goal of the United Nations. This is what we do in SusPharma. So I want to show you just some example related to the concept that I was describing before. Let's start with the cut to pharma. So the leader of this work package is Polytechnic of Milano in collaboration with the two companies, C2CAT and Fayacon. And what they do is just they found the way to prepare single atom catalyst. And in this case, with the single atom catalyst, we are able to save precious transition metal, for example, or we can replace, more expensive metals with the less expensive metals that will do the same chemical process. And also, we characterize the material, we prepare the material, we test the robustness of the material also. They can be easily recycled, and also they can be adapted for new technology. For example, flow technology or flow photocatalysis. Another point is that in collaboration with the BITO, so the Flemish Institute of Technology in Belgium, we want also to use new technology for the preparation of catalyst, to give a shape to catalyst, in particular using, for example, 3D printed additive manufacturing. And in this case, you can see some examples. So we are able to create some catalyst, support the catalyst with the desired porosity, with the desired support, and also we can shape the catalyst in order to adapt the catalyst to an hardware, for example, for further application in synthetic transformation. Other example in SusPharma related to the concept of waste to pharma and flow to pharma. So the reuse of renewable resources or the use of waste and the use also of flow technology. We just published this paper last year, 2 years in 2024, and we demonstrate that the glycolic acid, the lactic acid, mandelic acid, they are natural abundant materials, and sometimes some of them, like the lactic acid, can be waste. We can use this as a primary starting material for making more complex molecule, and we did this using a photocatalytic approach under continuous flow condition, and we demonstrate that it's possible to increase the complexity of the molecule, starting from this simple and readily available starting material. And also you can see that the productivity and the sustainability of the flow process is several order magnitude higher compared to the batch processing. Here is another example. For example, sometimes when you want to design your molecule, you want to increase the molecular complexity, there is a problem in the company. Sometimes you cannot use all the chemistry that you want, but if you rely on new technology, you are more free to use even fancy chemistry for making your molecules. And in this case, here we demonstrate that we can handle this bicyclobutane, for example, to make some functionalized cyclobutane easily in one step in continuous flow. And we compare the flow process with the batch processing. And if you see here, the batch processing is a multi-step, required several cool and warm steps. And the overall yield is much lower compared to the simple with one temperature, so you don't need to cool down, to warm up, and so on, using the flow process, and the yield is much higher. We compare, the traditional batch approach with the new flow approach for several derivatives, and in all cases we found that the process time and the productivity is much higher, several order of magnitude higher than batch processing. And this is quite important if the pharmaceutical industry, they want to shift from traditional technology to modern technology. SusPharma also is committed in the adoption of digitalization and automation. And at the University of Amsterdam, Professor Timothy Noel is working on automated platform. This is a prototype. It's called RoboChem, and this is the second generation. Is called RoboChem Flex. And Professor Timothy Noel demonstrate that it's possible, to optimize the process in complete automated way. And this means that it's possible to save time for the people, for the scientists that should do the experiment. So you have a machine that do the experiment for you, that consider also sustainability concerns, and find the better synthetic route for the preparation of the product that you want in a complete automated way. So in a future perspective, we can think that this module, can be applicable for production of large scale, in large scale molecules that can be pharmaceuticals, materials, or other kind of molecule. And this is quite relevant. We use also digitalization and flow technology also for crystallization, for continuous crystallization. That is an important topic, and it is very time demanding in pharmaceutical company to find a way to crystallize the molecule, because this is a way to get more pure compounds. And at the University of Loughborough, they are using a digital tool and flow technology in order to find, and to develop automated platform for continuous crystallization. We also use digitalization for chemical synthesis, for design a chemical process, and we reported in 2024 as a result of SusPharma that using a computer-aided retrosynthesis approach, we were able to design in silico and then to test in the lab the synthesis of a target API. And we found that with the use of digitalization, it was possible to reduce the cost of 500 times, and also reduce the time and the steps for getting, the targeted API. And this is quite relevant, and I think this is a very useful tool that should be used in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Another concept is, related to pure to pharma, and also, let's say, waste to pharma on the reuse of resources. Is the possibility to find a new application for a known medicine. So, like, let's say, repurposing of a known medicine. And what we are doing is just in collaboration, and this is an activity that is led by our industrial partner, Dompe. What they are doing, they are just trying to create new co-crystals, multi-component, let's say, co-crystals, using two different approaches. One approach in solution, but now they are shifting to a mechanochemical approach in order to reduce the amount of solvent to create this kind of co-crystals. And this kind of co-crystals, they show, a better profile compared to traditional anti-inflammatory agent. And now the result of this study is on, in particular, some co-crystals that were isolated are on phase 2 clinical study. And we are very enthusiastic for this result, because the molecule that has been identified, can have an impact, and they behave better compared to the single component when are administered to the patients. And last, the concept of capsule to pharma is related to the possibility to encapsulate the molecule into a capsule but is aqueous-based capsule. And so let's say that it's made under sustainable condition, because the solvent that is used is basically water. And also you can encapsulate in this water-based capsule your compound, your molecule. We can encapsulate a molecule up to let's say 900 Dalton as a dimension, so small molecules can be easily encapsulated. And what they do at the University of Aveiro, that is the leader for this work package, they just study the formation of a stable capsule, the encapsulation of molecules, the toxicity, and also the rate of release of the drug. So this is just to summarize what are some of the activity of SusPharma. And I want to say that our project is very interdisciplinary, and we cover several aspects of the pharmaceutical development. So from the early discovery to the synthetic plant, to the production, to automation in production and purification, to formulation, and then also in some cases also test with the one study that we have now in phase 2 clinical study. So summarizing, we want to advance green synthesis and manufacturing. We want to demonstrate that it's possible to use renewable resources for making valuable molecules, let's say. We also demonstrate that the process can be energy efficient compared to the traditional way for preparing pharmaceuticals. We also consider, I didn't mention this, but we also do some LCA study, techno-economic assessment also for the process that have been developed. So we are also able to understand the impact of the developed procedure, the developed process on the environment. And also we want to control, waste management, and we want to minimize, the release of especially hazardous waste into the environment. We want to innovate in drug delivery system, in particular with the development of a biodegradable and eco-friendly drug delivery systems. And an important thing that I said at the beginning is education and training. This is quite important. So we have something like more than 30 people enrolled in SusPharma and have been hired and have been trained during the past 3 years in sustainable pharmaceutical manufacturing. This is quite important because they will be the scientists of tomorrow that can bring, innovation into the pharmaceutical sector. Some perspective and challenges if we consider the green pharmaceuticals. So biodegradability of pharmaceuticals is something is very challenging. So the design of active molecule API that can degrade safely in the environment is a very big challenge. But there are some studies that demonstrate that in principle will be possible or could be possible to design this kind of molecule. We have some gap that need to be filled for regulatory and policy, and we are within the green pharmaceutical cluster. We are working. We are trying to address this point. And another point is, the process should be cost effective, because this is an important point for company. So they will shift from traditional way for making molecules or pharmaceuticals to a more sustainable or using new technology only if there is convenience in terms of cost. And this is an important point that even politicians should consider if Europe want really the shift to happen. This is important. So this is the last slide of my talk. So I hope that I gave you an overview of SusPharma and how SusPharma works for making green pharmaceuticals and introduce sustainability in the preparation of API. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renzo, for a lovely presentation. It was a great overview of the project, and I really like the part where you highlight the importance of education. We're just talking offline before starting how one of the deliverables for IMPACTIVE is an educational platform on mechanochemistry. It could be a nice idea to make it even wider and talk in general about sustainable chemistry, because that's so interesting. I've seen so many areas of overlap. I saw digitalization, single atom catalysts, flow chemistry, all of which are UPAC top 10 emerging technologies in chemistry together with mechanochemistry. So we are in that same area. I've seen a bunch of mentions to the principles of green chemistry, the SDGs. So clearly we share more than just getting the same funding from Horizon. We share the spirit behind the projects between Impactive and SusPharma and the rest of the sister projects. It was very nice to see Robochem appear in the presentation. That was very, very nice. And I actually wanted to ask a little bit about that because I guess flow chemistry brings a lot of advantages. You talked in your presentation about the advantage in terms of efficiency and in terms of you get even better yields that you get in batch, but with a simpler system, less waste. I was wondering what are the opportunities, or maybe SusPharma is looking into the opportunities of designing drugs sort of on demand and when you need them using flow chemistry and combining maybe digitalization instead of just having a bunch of ibuprofen. You just design the drug and manufacture it when you need it, which I think is one of the interesting applications of flow.
Yeah, this is something like this is already reality
Mhm.
because if you consider Robochem work based on flow technology for the optimization of the synthetic process. And there are some examples where you can select, the chemicals, you can push the button, and then you can get the product. So I think we are not very far from that. So maybe in the future, I think that will be, I think, reachable. And
Mhm.
Robochem is an example. That it's possible to do it. So just you select the chemicals, and on demand you can have your molecule. So there are some seminal paper from Klaus Jensen that
Mhm.
at MIT that he demonstrates, that it's possible to build this kind of platform where you select, push the button, and in that case, he did also formulation, so you get the pills at the end.
Oh, that's
Okay,
fascinating. Yeah,
that is
that's really
quite
cool.
nice because you have a platform that is, let's say, like let's say American fridge that is a little bit
Mhm.
bigger than our fridge. Okay, and then you can push the button, just charge with the chemicals, and you can get the formulated pills on the end.
Mhm.
And then it's quite relevant because if you think that you can locate this machine wherever is needed, you
Mhm.
know
Yeah.
and you know
And you could have like similar drugs with a similar backbone, but then just finalizing bits and pieces. So you've got the big backbone, and then just maybe tune a little bit the strength of the drug just by changing some of the moieties. That could be interesting as well. I forgot to say, but for anybody watching, you are free to send questions in the chat for YouTube. I don't know how it works on LinkedIn, or maybe leave a comment. We'll monitor those. But yeah, feel free to leave those, and if for whatever reason they get here later, we can pass them on to Renzo after the webinar. I had sort of another question, because it was also a very interesting aspect of the presentation when you talked about ways to value, not only finding new ways of making pharmaceuticals that don't necessarily come from petrochemicals, but also you made a very good case, a very strong case for repurposing drugs, which I think it's a very interesting thing that often gets forgotten. So, um, well, how are you looking into both repurposing waste into interesting pharmaceuticals and then repurposing pharmaceuticals for other applications in SusPharma? Could you talk a little bit more about that?
okay. Well, to get the pharmaceutical from waste is quite complicated, but yeah, we are working on that. We are trying to get high value molecules from waste. This is one point. Maybe some critical intermediate that are needed. And for repurposing, the idea was just to combine, you know, uh, known molecules that are maybe easy to make, low cost, okay, and try to find a new application, new medical application. And we succeeded. Well, Dompev did this, and they succeeded, in
Mhm.
making the co-crystal that I show. Of course, I cannot show for IP reason, I cannot show the molecules, but the results are very promising.
Yeah, I mean that slide was also very impressive because I saw you've got a upcoming task about making 30 kilos of that co-crystal, which sounds amazing in terms of scale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But still
Very
very,
easy to
very,
make.
very
Very
good.
easy to make. Let's say
Oh,
very easy to make. Yeah, yeah.
that's good. That's good because then always you need bigger
And we use
scales to make.
mechanochemistry. We use mechanochemistry. We found that mechanochemistry, the system works. It's possible to create a co-crystal. We spend a lot of time to understand what a co-crystal,
Hmm.
was, because it's not just like a salt. It's co-crystal. It's something
Hmm.
something little bit different.
Yeah, I think
At
crystallizing
molecular
one
level.
compound is already complex enough. If you want to crystallize two at the same time,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
even
yeah.
more complex. Yeah.
And based on secondary interaction. So at molecular level, it's quite complicated, but
Mhm.
it was demonstrated that we have a co-crystal, and the
Yeah.
co-crystal behave differently from a salt, let's say.
Yeah, that's really cool. I also really like how you cover the whole value chain. I was really impressed by the last work package. I think you said was led by Aveiro, the one where you actually make the pills, because then you're not only looking at one reaction or one method, but you're looking at the whole value chain of from the very basic chemistry of making the drug to delivering it in a way that's also sustainable. I think the only thing missing is just making the boxes more sustainable for buying the drug. But it was really really impressive. So I was glad to hear that you're looking into that as well. So again, very very good presentation. I'm just gonna hold for a little second to see if we have any questions from the audience, but I haven't seen any so far. But yeah, if you could comment a little bit on that idea of covering the whole value chain, just briefly to give an idea to the audience, and how having a multidisciplinary team funded by Horizon Europe, which allows you to have industry academia from different countries, how that gives you and your project an advantage in terms of covering the whole value chain from the drug to the actual delivery.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Well, I must say that at the beginning, it was a little bit difficult because you
Mhm.
have different skills, different way to how to approach a problem. But after the beginning, we try to we find a way to interact each other, and we understood that it's an added value to the consortium to have such interdisciplinary,
Mhm.
because you should learn to talk with engineering, you should learn to talk with material chemists, or maybe with people with other expertise. um, and it is important if you consider the EU level. You have a consortium with wide uh, expertise. You know, and even the people that we train, we learned a lot. They show different aspect of a pharmaceutical manufacturer. Let's say not
Mhm.
only the synthesis, but also the final application, or maybe the digitalization.
Mhm.
Other things. This is an added value. So people have been trained with the um, wide knowledge, and this is
Mhm.
quite important when they we will be in an industrial sector, and will be working there.
Yeah, I think it was a very nice presentation. I don't want to take any more of your time. I don't see any questions coming, but again, if anybody has questions, please send them around. We can try to forward those to Professor Renzo Luisi for later. We can read them and maybe answer them. Thank you, Renzo, again for joining us today. It was a very very nice presentation. I really enjoyed
Thank you.
learning more about your project. I hope we keep collaborating with SusPharma and Impactive through the sister project initiative, but then also that we keep collaborating in the future. Again, saw a lot of very interesting chemistry, very interesting ideas there. So it'd be nice to keep talking about those at some point. Thanks again for your time. And then for everybody watching on YouTube and LinkedIn, um, if there's anybody on LinkedIn, again, this is an experiment today. Thank you for joining us. Both streams will remain live. Sorry, not live. Will remain recorded there for forever. So if you want to check them later, that's great. You'll have the subtitles and everything. So it's fantastic. And then keep in touch with Impactive. Follow us on social media. Go to our webpage, mechanochemistry.eu, and also to SusPharma's webpage to stay in touch with our newsletters, stay in touch about our upcoming webinars. We've got some very interesting stuff coming up. It's the last year of Impactive, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any less active. I think, on the contrary, we're going to have tons of things coming up. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again, Renzo. And yeah,
Thank
see you
you.
in the next webinar. Bye-bye.
Thank you.